This is Drink Talk, where we try to solve the world's problems one drink at a time. Every other week in this podcast, we talk about the topics of today and tomorrow while highlighting and enjoying beer, spirits, and the world, and also crafted locally. Join us. We are your hosts, Brian and Britt. Cheers.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of Drink Talk.
Hello. It's been a while.
It has been a while. You have been on vacation.
I have, and it was good. It was a time to recharge the batteries. So.
Yeah, you were getting to a point. You were just like, I need to go. I need to leave.
I need to do this.
I need to get out.
Exactly. It was good. We did a road trip, so that was kind of fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
We ended up doing Wyoming and Montana, Idaho, and Utah. So,
what was the probably the most awesome spot you found?
Going through Jackson Hole was a really cool town, but I would say the Grand Tetons were spectacularly beautiful. Seeing Yellowstone was really cool. We went to Old Faithful. Old Faithful was surprising in more ways than one. Like, you pull up and like the parking lots are like going to an arena. Like, there's just parking lots after parking lots after parking lots. It's just insane.
Sure.
And there's busloads of people, and you walk up there and it's like a little mound. You're like, okay, is that it? Is that the mound? Is it? And then it erupts, and they're like, oh, okay, that looks good. So it's pretty cool. There were a lot of people there when we were there.
So those of you that are kind of seeing me be quiet over here, I'm adjusting volume controls.
Adjusting them
and fixing things.
Big man putting screwdrivers in things, trimming them.
I noticed in our last podcast that we were kind of peaking out, and it was not sounding as good. So you guys have now just seen an increase in volume by about 50%. So we're coming through a lot cleaner, a lot nicer than we were prior. Sometimes I forget to hit record over here on this other computer, and we totally kind of botched our last recording. Whoops. Sorry.
How do we miss that?
We will we'll release it here.
I've got it uploaded. I just need to
clean it up a little bit.
Well, I've cleaned it up probably as best as I can.
Right.
So.
It is going to be what it is.
It is what it. Yeah.
We recorded this 3 years ago. Now we're just really. No, we're just kidding.
It'll be released soon.
So
not too bad.
This is great. This actually sounds a lot better now. So that's great.
Good. Yeah. So this episode is actually more of a like a random.
Well, that's why I titled it.
Hey, Mitchell.
What's going on, man?
Thanks for joining.
Yeah.
You're on the Light FM.
That's why I titled this one, How Do We Miss That?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, so this is more about getting some sound issues worked out. It's about, Britt's got some notes on a few things.
Yeah, just some current events that have been happening around the world that should be talked about that really isn't being talked about in the main news. And so, yeah, just some, like, howdy doody stuff.
And then that was a wave at Mitchell back. He said, hey guys.
Hey, what's up?
Hey. I did want to talk, since we were talking about the road trip, I did want to talk about some of the interesting Idaho alcohol laws that they have.
Did you make it to the Spud Potato,
I did not.
Days In or whatever it's called?
So we went into the trip with very, very little planned out, which was exactly the way that we wanted, because it was really relaxing. But the first thing that we did, obviously, was to go to a grocery store, because we stayed in a big house, one of those vacation rental by owners.
Like an Airbnb kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a vacation rental by owner, VRBO.
Sure.
Beautiful house with pool, great for the kids.
That's what's up.
It was awesome. So we went to the grocery store, picked up a bunch of stuff, and noticed there was no spirits. Oh, jeez. Hard alcohol. There was wine and there was beer, which they had an interesting selection.
And this was in Ohio.
Idaho.
Or Idaho.
Yeah,
gotcha.
The other way.
Yeah. Same letters, just jumbled around differently.
So I asked the cashier, I was like, I noticed there's no spirits anywhere. Is there a different area? And they're like, yeah, It's called a liquor store. And I was like,
Oh,
okay. They're like anything above 17.5% or 17.3% has to be sold in a liquor store.
weird.
That includes spirits. That includes any beers that are that high alcohol content. That includes any like sake. Any of that has to be sold in a liquor store. And here's the other interesting part. Liquor stores close at 8 o'clock at night.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's great.
So,
It's great.
If you want to get your beer, get it before 8.
Well, the beer and the wine you can get at the grocery stores.
Just
you
the
can get
liquor.
just the liquor, which is quicker.
Which is weird.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of those weird Idaho laws. But there were some interesting things. I'll have to find the picture because it was found these really interesting cans. They're about half the size of a regular can of beer, and they're like a little bulb. Some of them are see-through, but they have a beer can top.
We had those at one point in time. Did they have liquor in them or did they have beer in them?
They had was neither. It was like a buzzball.
Buzzballs. Yeah, we had
We had
buzzballs. Yep, at one point in time we had.
Those things.
Yep, we had buzzballs here.
I do not even remember that.
I was at Hy-Vee and somebody had, I don't know, probably 25 of those
Holy
buzzballs.
buckets.
And I'm like, what? It was like, is this like... And apparently they were only selling them for $1. $1.
Yeah, they were pretty cheap.
And so...
They weren't very good, but they were pretty cheap.
They're pretty cheap. And the guy's like, well, it's only $25. You know, it's like buying a bottle of booze, but I get twice as much, you know? So he found it to be a win-win. Well, whatever.
Just go-
Yeah, right? Just do it.
Just go into it. Yep.
But yeah, any other interest? Well, you went to Old Faithful, you said.
Yep. Went to Old
And
Faithful, and then
so-
went to Mesa Falls from there, which was in Idaho, and then we stayed in Boise for a little at Meridian, actually right outside of Boise.
Meridian.
Spent a lot of time in downtown Boise, which is a really cool downtown. We had an interesting night. We, my wife's sister and her husband,
Nice.
we went out like a little couples date thing, and we call it the Night of the Hotel Restaurants, because every restaurant we went to was attached to a hotel. The first one was
Some of those are actually really
Yeah.
nice,
Well-
especially here in Omaha. We've got a few restaurant hotels that are
for sure,
very
Yeah,
nice.
for sure, especially
one
the
Chop House.
Yeah, well, the last one we ended up with, it was called Chandler's, and it's kind of like 801 Chop House or Fleming's or
Well,
whatever.
technically, 801 Chop House, I believe, is not a hotel, but it's apartments.
Gotcha.
But still, kinda same
But
thing.
the middle one we went to was a travel lodge, and Ken works in the restaurant industry, and it was a chef that he had heard of that was creating this cool thing. When we pull up, it's a travel lodge, and we're like, okay,
Yeah,
well,
forgot our swimsuits.
let's see how this goes. And it was pretty awesome. It was actually really. They set up in like not the lobby, it's the outside area before you get into the hotel, and they had this like canopy over it and some rocks with like fire coming out. It was actually really cool how they had it set up.
You know, it's always neat finding these little diamond in the roughs kind of things.
If you're out there, it's called Modern.
Right.
It's really cool.
I was on Facebook the other day, and somebody pointed me to it's kind of what's mid Nebraska. That's not Great Falls. That's South Dakota. What's Grand Island?
Well,
kind of.
that's about
So-
3 or 4 hours. Yeah.
It's Grand Island, and then it's kind of south of Grand Island by just a little bit. It's called the Speakeasy.
Okay.
I was like, ooh. Yeah, I mean, you heard he had me at the Speakeasy.
Yeah.
But apparently it's like a restaurant as well. So
Nice.
I guess if I'm ever out that way, I've got to check it out.
Yeah, I like going to speakeasies.
I love if I'm ever in a city and there's I don't know what to do, it's like, where's the Speakeasy at? I know you've got one.
Exactly.
There is one somewhere.
Like that hidden Japanese
Someone
whiskey
writ this
bar.
on Reddit or whatever. It's somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the best speakeasies I've ever been to was I was in the ATL. Atlanta. And I was told to go to the strip mall and find the red phone booth. And I'm like, okay, all right.
I can do that.
I can find a red phone booth. I walked around that mall. I was like, what are they talking? Oh, hey.
I see one.
Big English phone book.
Phone
A
booth.
phone booth. And so I go in there, and they gave me a phone number to call, and I call the phone number, and you can kind of clearly hear it ring on the other side. And you got to give them a little secret code, which always is constantly changing, and you can find that out through the interwebs or the people that know things. And then I came inside, and I wasn't dressed fully appropriately. I was dressed like you. I had a collared shirt and maybe some slacks on.
Not dressed down, but
yeah,
I'm not really dressed up.
I looked
either.
like I was going to the golf course or something. And the guy gives me he's like, I need your ID. And I was like, yeah. And then he keeps it. And I was like, and he hands me a sports jacket. He's like, you'll get this back when you give me that sports jacket. I was like, oh, okay.
It's this kind of place.
Okay, I'll just be a little bit nicer. And I went in there. They had a nice little, a small quartet, not a quartet band, but a small person on a little boom boom little bass. And
like a jazz band kind of thing.
Yeah, a guy with like a horn, but he had mute on the horn, kind of
like a beat poet.
Oh, it was cool. And then downstairs was a vodka ice bar.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
The whole bar was made out of ice.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's like,
don't put your elbows on the bar.
Yeah, you actually did not want to put but your drinks would stay cold. You could keep your drinks on the bar.
Do they have coasters for your elbows?
No. I do think they did. If I can remember correctly, I mean, this was 10 years ago. I think they had a bumper pad.
Who remembers back that far?
Right. Anyway, we never talked about
I was just thinking about the Motor Royal that we're drinking. It's actually delicious. It is called Breakfast Bomb by Prairie Artisan Ales. It's a
I like Prairie. They always have those weird, funky cans with neat artwork on them.
Yeah. This one actually comes to us from Casual Pint. I was there earlier today and looked interesting, and so he gave me a little sample. I'm like, yes, I will take a growler of that. Yeah. And it is it'll get you there. It's 13% again. And
who was working? Was Brody there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Brody's there. Thank you, Brody. And met some really interesting, cool people there. It's all as you always do when you're there. But I also picked up some at the pint. Keep it casual at the pint.
That's right.
But I picked up some other beer. We'll get to that when we get there. I don't really know what it is because Brody recommended it, and I said, yeah, I'll take that.
Oh, okay, that. Yeah. If that's the nightmare beer I can think of.
Yes, it is the nightmare beer.
It's gonna be delightful.
Good. But yeah, this has really like heavy coffee notes to it. Cheers. As you can see, it is quite dark, and it leaves a film on your glass. That's how thick it is.
Well, I love the just looking down into the cup. The suds are kind of like a golden suds.
Yeah,
it's kind of like golden sparkles going on.
When I first poured it into my glass here, it created like this little spider web looking thing in the middle of the beer. It was really cool.
But as far as dark beers, as
it's very light for a dark beer.
I know. I'm putting this up to the brightest
not
light
light in
bulb
color.
I'm putting this up to the brightest light bulb we have in here, and I don't have much beer left in my cup, and I can't even see through it.
No, it is super dark. It is. When I say Motor Royal, it's just a step below that.
But it doesn't seem that heavy. It doesn't seem...
Flavor-wise, yeah. It's got some good flavor punch, but it's very easily drinkable.
I guess, for me, I base a lot of things off of Guinness, because that was like my first real dark beer.
Guinness is like real creamy and kind of subdued in flavor. You get some of the chocolate notes in there. This is more of a bright coffee. You get some of the chocolate in the back a little bit. But yeah, it's... delightful.
It's a bit all right.
It's a bit of all right, for sure. So yeah, after Boise, we ended up heading south. We went to Salt Lake City, and
I know Salt Lake City.
Yep, had to check out the Mormon Temple. I wanted to see that, so we did that.
Did you see the Wells Fargo building downtown?
Yeah.
It's the triangular shaped building.
Yeah.
That's the same building Craig and I did the lighting for.
Oh, nice.
It used to be called American Stores, and it was like the policy writer for all grocery stores.
We tried not to spend a lot of time outside as it was 105 degrees when we were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit warm.
Hot time somewhere in the city.
And it was Sunday when we were there, and everything was closed. When we went, there's
perfect.
Like a third of downtown was open.
Less than. That's another one of those cities that it's tough to find booze in, and the booze that you do find is like going to be, 2.5% and whatnot. They do have hard liquor there. But again, I think it's only served until like 8 or even 10 or something like that. Quote me if I'm wrong, but there is a stipulation in Salt Lake City where they can only serve that kind of high octane alcohol until a certain time.
Probably, yeah. I did
Mormons.
Yeah, I did all the driving, and I had questioned. My father-in-law was riding co-passenger, and I said, I wonder how many what's the population percentage of Mormons? Like, is it all?
No.
It's 67%.
It's more than half.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, 63%. 63% Mormon.
It's still more than half.
Yeah. The next religion is non-religion, and that's 25%.
Wow.
25 to 27%. The next one is Catholic at 9%, and then everything else is 1% or below. So
I'm glad you brought up a religion. I have some stuff on religion that we could talk about.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. It was just interesting to me that it was such a disparity on. There's not like a good mix. It's like there's like lots of people that are Mormon. There's quite a few people that are not religious at all. There's a good group of Catholics, and then everybody else is like, well, the mix. It's. I think combined they equal 5 or 6%. It's crazy.
So lately in the news that really hasn't been talked about, you can find it on RT RT News, which not a whole lot of people have RT. But yeah, it's right news. Anyway, I don't know what RT stands for, but I would assume that's what it would be. But they had found in Jerusalem over 15 years ago a pipe burst in Jerusalem, and they've been
like a water pipe or like
they just said pipe, so
some
pipe burst, and they've been
tobacco pipe or
some sewage or water or some kind of pipe broke 15 years ago, and they've been for the past 15 years trying to fix this. And that's
government bureaucracy for you,
right? Exactly. Well, I'm sure if that broke, they're like, well, we need to replace this,
right?
And so we replace that. Well, we got to replace this because that's going to go. If that goes out,
it's a historic pipe. You got to replace it with historic pipe.
Well, it's kind of like Flint, Michigan. You turn off the water.
Still going on.
Use another water source, and then it corrodes all your pipes. Well, now you got to replace them all. It's not. You can't just replace one. You got to replace them all now. Anyway, new discovery in Jerusalem City of David, 2,000-year-old pilgrimage road. So this is where the Jewish pilgrimages would wash up before heading to the temple.
Does this have to do with the pipe thing still?
Yeah, so below like city streets and stuff, they found this like corridor.
Gotcha, okay.
And they took it down, and it's like straight limestone or whatever stone they have that's fluent in there. And it's like this pristine, gorgeous road that was just below their road. And it's like, and then they traced it back, and they were just like, no, this is what they were talking about in the Bible. This is the pilgrimage road.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So,
all because of a pipe burst.
All because of a pipe burst. July 17th, they found a 9,000-year-old settlement discovered near Jerusalem called Ziklag or Ziklag. It's in the Bible. They talk about it in Samuel 1, 30, 1 through 3. So a 9,000-year-old city, which is, before Christ, which is awesome. So they're, again, tying this all to religion and going, wow, we are finding amazing things. I would assume through technology, Well,
once you, because there's just so much to look at, you have to know where to look.
Right.
But if you use like ground penetrating radar and all that, yeah.
Let's see here. They recently on July 24th found Goliath's hometown. And the reason why they dubbed this Goliath's hometown, which is a 3,000-year-old something city found beneath Goth, G-A-T-H, Goth, was because of everything was so big. Everything was so, like, the doorways were huge.
Isn't that the Nephilim? The Bible talked about the Nephilim, the giant race?
Philistine is what I got. Philistine.
Yeah, I know, but that's a branch. I think they are descendants of the Nephilim. I think there's...
Could be.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a Bible scholar.
But anyway, this guy, Adam Berkowski, he said that recently discovered pilgrimage roads in Jerusalem and all these other findings is bringing truth and science to the debate that has been mirrored by myths. So,
it's pretty cool.
Kind of neat stuff that...
proven stuff that actually was written down has actually happened.
Like, people are seeing this stuff in the Bible and then correlating it to this, and it's all like, well, this is the city. Oh my gosh, And finding these roads and finding Goliath's hometown and all that stuff. It's just really neat to see that'll come to fruition and all reveal itself.
Yeah, they found what they thought was a jug, like a keg or whatever of wine, but it ended up being Goliath's hand glass. Right? Is that
right? This is his mug.
Yeah. Yep. Just one.
Wow, that's
I'm just having one.
It's like 3 gallons you can put in there. It's only a thimble to him.
That's right. Yeah, it's just a small sample. That's only for the finest stuff. That's cool. That's pretty cool. How do we miss that?
Right? How did we miss that?
Those of you that are just joining us, that's kind of the theme of the podcast here today is how do we miss that?
I got a lot of notes on how we missed a lot of different stuff. And I credit a lot of this stuff to one of my favorite channels.
YouTube.
On YouTube. It's called Jason A.
Oh, yeah.
But when you type in Jason A, you got to type in Jason space A and then do another space, and then his channel will come up. Because if you just type in Jason A, it comes up with Jason Aldean and all his music and all that stuff. Oh. So you got to do a space after the A, and then it comes up and it's Jason A, and it's just 2 words, J-A.
Jason.
Yeah. Jason A. Cool. But he, the reason I like his podcast is he does a lot of research, and then we don't see him. Like it's not like him sitting in front of the channel talking about the things that are going on. He's actually just pulling from different news networks and small entities of things and just saying, here you go, like I'm just presenting you with the news.
And some of them are pretty long.
But
much like this podcast.
He'll talk, which I'll talk about here in a little while, current events that are going on in a lot of different cities throughout the country where there's craziness stuff happening. He also talks about the effects of climate change. In fact, I think I even talked about him the last time.
And if you missed that, we'll be releasing it again.
Exactly.
Or not again. We'll be releasing it soon.
Again?
So,
technically it would be again because we do always Facebook everything. So
that's right. Yeah.
Technically it would be again.
You're right. Technically correct. So we had some poor audio in there. So trying to clean that up.
Yeah.
Those are your notes. Is that page 2?
These were the notes from last week. I was looking at these. I was like, oh, this is old news. And then I was looking. I was like, oh, those were the ones from our last episode, which was technically at the beginning of the month. I mean, this was during their 4th of July, wasn't it?
Right after, yeah, because we did talk about the 4th of July. Yeah. It was the 7th. So
too long to be away.
Yeah, well.
But speaking of that,
we need a break.
There's a keg over there, Brian.
I know, that keg was awesome.
Well, here's the thing. You bought that keg.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume that you would want to take that with you when you leave and take it back to said crush train and get a keg fee thing back.
Sure.
Whatever. I
can do.
Sure, it's like $10 or $15, but hey.
And
go there and have a beer.
Go slap hands with those guys. Hey.
Yeah, but that's your money, not mine.
Sweet. So. Yeah, can do. Will do. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
I can't believe we finished it. That was a good keg. It wasn't just you and I. We did have some guests. We had George. We had 4 Alex.
People. And those of you who actually watch the show, we did not finish on the show, but immediately after the show got over, we all poured ourselves a full one, and it blew. So
yep, we did.
Hey-o.
Boom. All right, I'm on empty.
I'm on
I do want to switch to something a little lighter, though, because we have a couple of different beers.
Yeah. Should I get different cups? Because those are going to...
Oh, yeah, that'd be a good idea. That's going to...
We'll just set these off to the side.
Don't want to taint that. Need a fresh cup for the beer. You don't need all the... Especially with how thick this is. That's staying on the walls there. So, good call, Britt. Good call.
Right.
And if you are watching and you're talking about something, we don't really have much in the way of notes. This was more of an audio feed
tester
and test. And
Speaking
so
of that,
we're just kind of doing random stuff.
Test it. But we always are open to comments. Again, this show is about how do we miss that? So if you have something interesting or fun to share that we might not know about, please put it in the comment section and we will bring it forth to the show.
Oh, this is from Boston. It's called Nightmare. Man, that's some crazy can art.
Yeah, this is what? The Nightmare what?
Mancurda?
Mancurda.
Double IPA. It's a DIPA. Galaxy, Comet, and Polaris hops.
You know,
10.2.
I'm glad you brought this to my attention, the Dippa. So we've been regularly going to Jazz on the Green. Love it. Every Thursday we get out there. Since I've been working downtown, at 5 o'clock, I rush out there, put my blankets down, come home. I've got 2.5 hours to get Carly and Guyver ready to go back down there, get our spots before the music starts playing. So it's perfect. Mm-hmm. And so 2 weeks ago, it was 101 degrees outside.
Ugh.
And
gross.
But here's the thing.
But it wasn't a dry heat.
It was a dry heat.
No, it was not.
Well,
Omaha does not have dry heat.
The sun went down past the buildings. Mm-hmm. We got there about 7. By 7:15, it was behind the buildings. It was 15 minutes out in the sun. Not a big deal. But then the wind started kicking in. It was actually kind of a lovely evening. Once the sun got past the buildings, it was really nice, actually. But last week was actually pretty awesome. I always lay out 2 blankets because I'm not sure how many people are going to come, if folks are going to be there, if friends are going to show up or whatnot. Well, anyway, we get there and come to find out it was just going to be Carly, me, and Guyver, and that's fine. Not a big deal. We still have our own fun, and we just love to watch the people that walk by and listen to the great music that Omaha brings for us for the show. Mm-hmm. So I started to pull back the blanket that was next to us, and this couple immediately sees me what I'm doing, and they're like, "Oh my God, is that available?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you guys you didn't bring a blanket or anything?" And they're like, "No, we just got chair." I'm like, I put the blanket back out for them. They're like, "Oh, you're so nice." I'm like, it's the blankets are right over there. It's a crummy old comforter from years ago. Go ahead and sit down. And they had a little boy that was 5 years old too, and they were from Iowa, and they were very nice folk, and got to talk to him about beer and whatnot. He was drinking on. He started with a Blue Moon, I think, and then he switched to Bud Lights, and I'm just like,
he wanted to hydrate.
Come on, man. So the beer that's in the fridge that we'll sample here later, I had that, and I let him try that, and he goes, "Wow, that's amazing." He goes, "That is so flavorful." Mm-hmm. And I said, "It's a double IPA." He goes, "You mean there's 2 types of IPAs in there?" I'm like, "Well, it's double the amount of hops or IPA, what they would put into it." And he goes, it doesn't taste hoppy at all. I was like, yeah, a lot of double IPAs aren't as hoppy as just single IPAs.
Yeah, you want to show that to the camera? The Nightmare. This is good. Again, from Casual Pint. Thank you, Brody, for suggesting that. I see Aaron's on. Hey, Aaron. How you doing?
This is a cool can.
Yeah.
Neat artwork. Very cool.
Yeah.
Those that aren't, catching the zoom in properly, definitely someone dying.
Yeah.
Definitely wrapped in ropes, blood everywhere, dungeon floor. Looks like what's the death with the cloak and the sickle? Death, nightmare, of course. But the blood really stands out on the can. They really made that with like a fluorescent paint.
Or like a reflective paint.
Reflective paint, yeah, and it's like a passion purple kind of reddish color. So,
yeah, very hazy.
10.2.
Yeah, that'll get you. That'll get you there.
Ooh. Mancuda? Yeah. Mancuda? Double IPA with Galaxy, Comment, and Polaris hops.
Yeah, you can smell the Galaxy.
And this is from Boston, Massachusetts, huh? Mm-hmm. All right.
Cheers.
Yeah, we're so far away. Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
That is definitely fruity.
Yeah, it is.
That is like, I don't know, like, not pineapple. Oh, yeah.
There's pineapple in there.
I was going to say, there's a little pineapple in there.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Less citrusy than I'm used to, but it's definitely got some fruity flavorings to it.
Deutscher Brewing Company? Dorchester Brewing Company? Deutscher?
We'll go with yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Deutscher.
Sure.
Well, and then it says Boston, Massachusetts for Nightmare. Oh, someone brewed this for Nightmare.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So
there we go.
Yeah.
And now we know.
It's Nightmare Brewing Company.
I think the other stuff is Nightmare that I have, but it's a different beer, so.
This is good. This is really good.
Indeed.
In fact, they also, at the Casual Pint, where you can all get your casual needs, they have the other Nightmare I believe I saw on the shelf, and it's sour.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So there's that. So we'll put that there. Bingo.
yeah.
Bingo, bango, boom.
I should probably catalog that to make sure that we do that.
Right?
All right, what else you got, Britt?
Let's see here. Do we want to go with bad things that are happening in the world or even worse things that are happening in the world?
Let's start with bad, and we'll work our way down, I guess.
All right, so bad.
Since we're drinking the Nightmare.
Right? So. Exactly. So let's start with the bad. Last weekend, we were talking about dolphins dying in record amounts. Not last weekend. 3 weeks ago, I guess. At the beginning of the month. We were talking about all these dolphins washing ashore, gray whales washing ashore. Well, it's still happening. So Iceland has got now whales beaching themselves. British Columbia's got whales. Alaska's got mussels that are showing up on shore by the billions.
Well, yeah, they're little,
mussels. Yeah.
They're flexing.
So
that was terrible.
where we got here? Pilot whales are washing up on Georgia. Birds and seagulls are dying in Australia. They're also in Dukirken. I think that's in Alaska. Anyway, all these animals are doing weird things.
Mm-hmm. Remember when all the birds were dying?
When all the birds are dying. It's like a song or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they were like literally just dropping out of the sky.
Well, there's a movie. There's an Alfred Hitchcock movie. Where birds.
I think it was called The Birds.
The Birds. We actually watched that because remember Crowley, our black bird that just hung out with us last summer?
Oh, sure.
Came up in my news feed on Facebook and was all like, oh, there's Crowley. I do believe he still comes around. He's not eating mealworms out of my hand. And those of you that are on here that know me, that are on Facebook with me, you can go back 1 year ago on my Facebook page and find Crowley that I'm talking about. We had this blackbird with an injured wing, and we kind of nursed it back to health for literally a week and a half. Mm-hmm. He showed up every day. I had mealworms for him.
You guys became Disney princesses?
Yeah, he had no problem eating them right out of my hand or eating them right out of my fingertips. One of the clips I was watching, he was actually drinking some of my whiskey. Just like, oh yeah, go just get yourself some, man.
Yeah.
You got it.
Flew kind of weird after that, but
yeah, right. But it's weird. What is happening?
Man.
And so
probably along the lines of the climate change thing.
Well, on the flip side of that. So Carly brought this to my attention. I was talking to her a little bit ago about, we were watching the Jason A video about all these whales and dolphins and things of that washing up shore, and then all these birds dying and all that stuff. I don't know. I can't account for the birds. So the birds.
That was a while back, though. That was probably.
No. This is.
I know, but the big one that I remember was like 5
July
years ago.
18th was birds are dying, and in Australia it was July 19th that the birds were dying, and they're not dying by the hundreds, but they're definitely dying in giant groups. 20, 30, 40. So, and that could have been just a fluke in something. They flew to some factory, and the factory had this open vat of something, and they drank it, and they, well, you probably shouldn't drink that.
Maybe they flew through a methane cloud.
Who knows? But it is definitely like, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. So we've had a multitude of earthquakes lately. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these earthquakes have been happening in Australia.
And California just had a couple, but we expect
California.
that. We expect that for California.
Bali had some. Iran had some. Indonesia had some. Who else had some? Brandeis Sea, which is close to the Philippines.
Now, when you're saying all these places had earthquakes, I mean, everywhere has earthquakes all the time.
Right.
So what on the Richter scale, what are we talking about?
So, yeah. So earthquakes... we're talking about 4.0s and above. Stuff
that you can actually feel. And
right.
Like, it's not just like, did you feel that? No, something's going on.
Yeah, something is going on.
Yeah.
And Ridgecrest, which is, I'd say an hour or two outside of L.A. Ridgecrest is kind of on the lower portion of California.
But California's known for earthquakes. I mean,
right. But Ridgecrest had a 7.1 one day, and the 7.1 was actually felt in L.A. at a Dodgers game. And then within that 7.1, 5 days later, they've had 585 aftershocks of 3.5 or higher.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
I'm like, whoa. Are you just like, sorry, I didn't get that. Just like, what are you doing?
Everybody's getting a hell of a massage.
I can't fathom 585 within a week's time span of these things happening. Well, Carly brought up a good point. Some of these earthquakes are actually happening happening in the ocean.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the fault lines go under the ocean.
Right. Exactly. So, is something happening in the ocean? Like, I know that if it cracks, maybe volcanic gets into the ocean. If the ocean heats up, the fish start acting crazy and weird. And the ones that you'd be seeing acting crazy and weird are whales, because they're low where these fault lines may be, and dolphins also are down where these fault lines may be. So I'm putting the two together, I guess.
Hey,
yeah.
Murmur's musing. Mike is on fire? Does that mean like our mics are too hot?
Too hot?
Is that what you're saying?
Should we turn it down?
I don't know. Please clarify.
Clarify that it's on fire. Yeah, Murmur, we made some adjustments.
Yeah.
And so now you should be able to listen to the podcast at like normal volume, like maybe halfway up.
Mm-hmm. If it's too hot, then we can bump it back down.
Exactly. But yeah. I checked it by my phone, and it seemed like we were okay. And we really haven't been too loud. So
gotcha. Maybe you just need to turn your volume down.
No,
I meant Murmur.
He is right. It is clipping just a little bit. So okay. I will just turn it down just a little bit. There we go.
Thank you.
Hey. Okay. There we go.
We'll go with that.
I will take the main volume down on that one as well.
We'll see how that's going.
Exactly. Bingo. All right, so I just took it down by about 5-6%. So hopefully that should be fine.
Cool.
Thank you. We do appreciate the on-site comments and feedback, so it helps us do better.
Exactly.
But anyway, I just can't help but think that there's a close tie to what's going on.
Well, it's completely possible if they're talking about the Earth warming up. Earthquakes are caused by the tectonic plates shifting and sometimes catching on each other and all that. And if things heat up, I mean, we all know heat rises and expands and all that. So that's probably shifting some of the tectonic plates a little more than usual.
Well, maybe. Am I a scientist, though? I mean, like, am I figuring this out? Am I seeing these earthquakes happen and now whales are washing up on shores? It's like, well, yeah, they're getting affected by these earthquakes. And they're like,
pretty sure somebody else has noticed.
Well, they're freaking out. Mm-hmm. They're going, well, what's
Jason
going on?
A knows.
Yeah, Jason A knows. He put it in my direction to figure this stuff out.
Yeah.
But I just would like to think that possibly that could be, correlated.
It's possible. We are all connected.
Yeah. So there's that.
It's possible. Yeah. Planet's gonna explode. Everybody, let's go down to the local pub, have a pint, and wait for this whole thing to blow over.
Wasn't that International Guide to the Galaxy? Weren't they down at the pub having a pint?
Yeah, something
grab
like that.
Grab your towel, let's go.
Yep, don't forget your towel. Exactly. Funny movie.
But yeah, it's just staggering the amount of earthquakes that are happening just in the no. With that said, earthquakes happen all the time.
Yes.
I get that. I get that earthquakes happen all the time.
You're getting like 1.2s and...
Well, the earthquake that happened in California, they're actually seeing cracks at the fault lines. Mm-hmm. Like...
Oh, do you mean California's finally going to be an island?
That's what I'm thinking. That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
They're going to hang out and hang with...
Hawaii.
Alaska
could come too.
That's funny you say that because Carly thought Alaska was an island for the longest of times.
Well, I mean, I guess if you look at like the maps, I mean, we know it's connected, but I mean, if
it's
all
a straight edge,
maybe it was a cliff. I don't know.
But yeah, all maps, not all maps, but the majority of maps, if you're looking at the United States, Alaska and Hawaii are in a separate column because they're so far away. So,
thank you, Corey. He got the line in there. Down to the Winchester, have a pint, and wait for this to blow over. Yep. Shaun of the Dead. Yeah, there
you go. Nice.
There you go. Hey, James. James.
Hey,
what's up?
What up, buddy? Skyver's getting swim lessons by James's daughter.
Oh, nice.
Cindy Luhu.
Very
and
cool.
So Carly sent me the GPS coordinates, whatever, the map on my phone, text message. And I knew the neighborhood it was supposed to be in. But when I got close to that neighborhood, I was like, oh, I know it's not this first pool. I know it's not that one. I GPS'd it, and it was like, you go up to 156th, then you go like past State Street. And I'm like, this is like 2 miles away from the neighborhood I thought it was supposed to be in. So I go all the way to the location because I was like, I'm just following the maps. It takes me to a cornfield. I'm like, there is not a pool here.
Guyver, strip down. You're going swimming in the corn.
Definitely not a pool here.
Yep.
And so I call Carly up. She's like, it's just down from the other one. And so there's one that's on 148th, and then there's one on 151st. And I'm like, I get there, and I'm like, Cindy, does this neighborhood have 2 pools? She's like, yeah, we're that rich. I'm like, okay.
That kind of pool.
They've got 2 pools in one neighborhood.
Does one have valet parking? Because I only go to pools with valet parking. Well, she says
the other one actually gets more busy because I don't know if it's a lot more wide open.
More busy?
Busier.
It's more busier.
It's away from, so there's like some lakes there, and they're not the cleanest of lakes. I wouldn't fish out of there, nor would I swim in there. I might die. It looks very algae-ridden and green and whatever. That's fine. Mosquitoes, but
malaria pond.
So yeah, the pool that has a clubhouse, which is actually a really nice clubhouse, fitness center, and all that, doesn't get used all that much. Whereas the other one gets used more. I don't know if it's away from or easier to get to or what, but I'm just like, your neighborhood has 2 pools. Your neighborhood's not that big. It's like 1 square mile by 1 square mile.
Yeah, one's just the rich guy's pool, but everybody uses it.
Right? Okay, whatever. But She did a great job. He learned how to tread water today, and
only doggy paddle.
Well, we were getting worried about the little guy. I mean, he's 5 years old. He needs to learn how to swim.
True. Yep, I agree. Even though we live in a landlocked state, it's not a bad life skill to have.
No. And when I just popped my headphones on, was listening to a podcast, and just, I could hear him screaming like, "No!" I'm just like, I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything. I'm sure that when I was learning how to swim, or the kids that were learning how to swim around me were probably doing the same thing as well. They were afraid. It's something new, and you don't normally do that. And of course, you're going to be a little more afraid. So why wouldn't we go to a pool that no one ever uses? So
there we go. Perfect.
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 But yeah, I zoned out, and she's like, "Oh, we're all done." I was like, "Perfect, love it."
I almost finished the podcast.
Right? Not quite.
Yeah.
I only made it halfway through.
Cool story, bro.
Swimming. All right. That was all to just adjust our volume control.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for that tangent. This tangent brought to you by Volume Control.
It's like something you could buy on a shelf.
Exactly.
Volume control.
Yeah, exactly.
Find it at your nearest Walgreens.
This one goes to 11. But why not make 10 louder?
So, the plague's happening right now.
Awesome.
In Vegas.
Wow, they got a problem with rats? Because that was spread before.
Grasshoppers.
Really?
Vegas is getting taken over by grasshoppers right now.
Well, that was one of the actual plagues. Locusts.
You could see it on the Doppler radar. It's that bad.
All right, so we're hitting the plagues again. Perfect. What was after locusts? Was it frogs? And then so the locusts killed the cattle? No, ate the.
It was the locusts and the frogs, and then they took the firstborn.
No, there's a lot more. Like the crops died, and then the cattle
the blood
died.
in the water. There was the blood in the water.
Yeah, the cattle died. Then the locusts came, ate all the remaining food. Yeah, maybe the crops didn't die. Maybe the locusts ate all the crops. Then the frogs came, ate all the locusts. And then, I don't know.
I don't know if I don't think I told you this. I think I was.
People are listening to us that have never read the Bible. Like, what are you talking about?
No, this is all in the Bible. No, it was funny. Guyver wanted to watch Batman. I'm like, cool.
Which one? Like 1969 Batman?
1989.
There's just no good place to put a bomb.
1989. The very first Batman, not Batman Returns. I'm talking about Batman with the Joker when he becomes Joker. Jack Nicholson as Joker. Mm-hmm. I'm talking very first one.
Michael Keaton.
And Carly was like,
I think it was a Christopher Nolan film.
Possibly. She goes, this is a little violent. I'm like, yeah, it's PG-13. And she's all like, I don't know. I mean, Guyver's 5. I'm like, when I was in kindergarten, I watched this. Yeah. It came out. That's what I watched.
Vicky Vale. Stop the Christ.
Vicky Vale. So we were watching it. Well, it gets about halfway through, and it's
See, Corey with all the facts here.
right.
All right. So after the locust was 3 days of darkness and the death of the sun, I thought the locust ate the crops, is why they came, and then maybe they blotted out the sun for 3 days.
Too.
And then the firstborn.
Hence why you can see it on the Doppler radar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, anyway, she deemed Batman a little violent.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. So I switch it and we do watch The Prince of Egypt. I'm just so like, I mean, it's a cartoon.
Exactly.
It's a cartoon.
It's Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer never hurt anybody.
Exactly.
They're bringing back Top Gun. Did you see that?
I did. They did a Weekend at Bernie's meme.
Did they really?
And it was
the
guy,
Goose.
in the
Talk
middle.
to me, Goose.
Come on,
Talk
man.
to me, Goose. Oh, boy.
So anyway, Vegas is under attack. Don't go to Vegas anytime soon.
Oh.
Try to avoid Vegas at least for the next week.
I know a lot of people are fond of going to Vegas.
It's
and all that.
Sin City.
I've never, the last time I was there was like 15, so I've never really experienced Vegas, so I guess I've just never gotten the bug to go, to go to Vegas.
Got it. I've been to Vegas 17 times in the past 5 years. And the reason I go there is because of the work and business that I do. So I spend the majority of my time in convention centers, but there is a point in time that I can get out and walk around and do fun things. And you could get yourself in trouble.
Sure.
Absolutely.
You could in any city, but yeah, Vegas makes it pretty easy.
One of my not coolest experiences, one of my interesting factoids, I guess you would say. I was in...
that is the title of your memoir.
Interesting
Factoids of Brit.
I was at the... where was I at? What's the... not the Phoenician. That's in Phoenix. And not the Venetian, which is in... I can't think of the hotel.
That one
hotel.
it has the rooms in it.
The rooms and the S-curvy thing.
Oh yeah,
it's set back up behind something, and it's not Bellagio. It's not. It's a fairly new resort, and I can't think of the name of the resort. And it'll come to me, and I'll just blurt it out here in about half an hour.
Perfect. So pause now.
Yeah. Anyway, so I was there at the resort, and I was like, "Hey, I've got nothing going on. I'm just gonna go downstairs to the bar downstairs." And he's like, $5 cover. I'm like, weak sauce, whatever, $5. There you go. And so we were hanging out. I was hanging out at the bar, and there was these two dudes, like just regular Joes, and this hot woman was talking just to these regular dudes, and I'm like, I see what's going on here. I see what's going on here. So anyway, she's all talking about going back to the room and hanging out and having some fun, and they were all about it. She's like, hang on, I gotta go talk to somebody real quick, and then I'll be right back. She goes and talks to the pimp. I'm like, clearly that is the pimp, right?
He had the hat, he had the cane, he had the fur coat.
No. He's he looked more like Russian or Slojiish. I totally botched that one. But anyway, as she was gone, I was like, guys, that's a whore. And
she's not into you, she's into your
right.
wallet.
And they're like, no. I'm like, she's currently talking with this dude. You're going to leave here if you decide to do this. If you leave, he will be sitting outside the club. And when you leave and go upstairs, he will be sitting outside your room. So they're like, yeah, whatever, And then they left, and he was sitting right outside the club as they were exiting. And I'm like, yep, told you.
Have fun, guys.
They were back about 10 minutes later. And they were like, you were right. You were right.
Oh.
But anyway, beautiful hotel.
James was asking, what do you mean fun things? But as you were stating, those kind of fun things.
Right.
Britt was walking around the club the whole time with like, I'm married. Married.
I did always wear my wedding ring. as guys would do, we would go out in like packs, and it's usually 5 married men and 1 single guy, and it's like, go get him, dude, go get him.
We got your back.
Exactly.
We're all your wingman.
We're all just gonna have beer and we're just gonna hang out. So
nice.
Yeah,
very cool. All right, what else you got?
All right, so let's go to worldwide events.
Isn't that what we've been talking about?
Right. I don't know why I wrote this, but I wrote worldwide events on the top.
Did you ever see the movie 23, Britt? The Notebook from 23 kind of looks like that.
Well, you know where I got this? The Simple Man.
Oh, very cool. Very cool shop. Indeed.
Right?
Yeah. For all your mercantile needs.
And I just posted this sticker of cross-train on it, and it actually came with a pencil, but I have not sharpened it. Because I just use a pen.
Need a knife? You can whittle that down.
Whittle it down. I actually have a pencil sharpener. I ran across a pencil
sharpener. A pencil sharpener when you get a knife?
Right. Let's see here. Dolphins, whales. All right.
Starfish.
So,
plankton.
Apparently there's some stuff going on in Hong Kong.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in Hong Kong.
Well,
smog.
Well, there's been
the desolation.
Rioters. There has been mass thugs terrorizing the city. It seems like the police are just kind of helping them out.
Isn't that kind of like the basis for all the Die Hard movies and then whatever?
Well, so there's this triad gang that's there, and they think it's
the triad. Oh, the triad.
The triad gang.
That's right. Yeah, there's like one leader, and like they meet in dark alleys and
I don't know,
factories and stuff.
But apparently, they're just beating up these people.
Lethal Weapon. That's probably what it is. Lethal Weapon.
They're beating up these pro-democracy people. So these people are in protest right now because they're about to start losing their freedoms. And
it's a communist country.
It's not like there's a group of 1,000. Well, I'm talking.
There's 1 billion people in China.
Right. I'm talking 1 million. Mm-hmm. They block streets coming into Hong Kong so nobody could come in or out of Hong Kong. Like, they are literally
shutting down,
pissed off because they're starting to lose their freedoms. They were saying
democracy is making them lose their freedom.
So
I don't understand.
They're protesting over keeping Hong Kong free. There is an extradition bill that's going to be passed, and the Trinidad gang is beating up these pro-democracy people. That's all I've got written there.
The Trinidad people?
The Trinidad gang.
That's what it's called? Trinidad gang?
That's what they're called. They're called the Trinidad gang.
It's a country or something like that.
I guess that's what... Triad.
There we go.
Triad.
I was like, Trinidad.
Not Trinidad. Triad.
Triad. All right.
Anyway,
which means the 3 ads.
No, this has been going on for days and days and days and days, like weeks. But it's just crazy to see this amount of protest. So, like, the Chinese military, they kind of stay out of Hong Kong. It's kind of like unknown territory, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why that is. The last time they came in was when there was a big hurricane, and they came in, cleaned up all the
like
debris.
The National Guard and all that.
Kind of like the National Guard. They came in, they took care of that. Well, now they're back because of these protests and because it's getting so violent. And it's not just in the streets. It's in malls. It's in front of government buildings. It's gotten to a point where they're like, we need to stop this.
Bring out the samurais, man.
The Aria. That is the name of the hotel I was at. The Aria.
I was just going to say, so Murmur said that. Yeah, Aria.
Yep,
yeah.
That's it.
I was wondering why he posted that.
Like it's an S-shaped building. And yeah.
Well done, Murmur.
Bingo. You got it.
Yeah. You get
and I didn't even read the comments, so it's perfect.
You get the gold star.
I told you it'd come to me after like 5-10 minutes.
Well, I was wondering why he posted that. I'm like, what were we talking about? Aria. Like Ariana Grande? I mean, no, Aria.
So not only in Hong Kong are there mass protests going on, Costa Rica. So the Costa Rican government has been doing some shady stuff.
I mean, yeah.
Sure. Here's what happened. They used funds to benefit private clients and also the government itself. And we're not talking just like $1 million. We're talking billion.
With the B. With the B.
It's a billion. And so they're thoroughly pissed off. Like the guy, the name,
that guy, the one guy,
Ricardo Russello.
Ricardo
Russello. Ricardo Rossello.
I'm going to call him Ricky Ricardo.
Ricky Ricardo. Ricky Ricardo.
I love Lucy. You got some splaining to do.
Ricardo Rossello is the man in charge down there in Puerto Rico. And as of July...
The corrupt man in charge.
The corrupt man in charge. And as of July 25th, which is just a couple days ago, he has resigned.
Oh, hey.
Hey, and the people got their way. So, like, all the chanting and fires and...
Molotov cocktails.
Polluting and Molotov cocktails, which is a great beer, by the way, paid off.
Yeah, just don't just blow it out before you drink it.
Right? Exactly. Don't do that. Don't do that at all. Speaking of drink, I think we need to just move on to our next drink.
You want to stick with the nightmare or you want to go to yours?
No. Go to mine. Which is left over from the other day.
Yeah. This is another one you got to show to the camera.
Yeah. I picked this up for Jazz on the Green, and I liked it so much I picked up another one the next day because I was just like, I can't pass this up. So this one is a double IPA.
Another Dippa?
Another Dippa. On the can, it says, "Did we just become friends?" And it's got a giant, it looks like maybe a leopard or a tiger.
Simba.
Could be, yeah, it's Simba. There you go. It's Simba with two guys, one singing, one playing the guitar with butterflies around it.
Yep. Those so the guys that the guys that I was talking to at the Casual Pint earlier, they saw that can and they were like, "Oh, that's a cute kitty." And the bartender's like, "Yeah, that's a lion, not a cute kitty."
Right. So there's that.
To rip off your face.
And then the two guys playing and
Did we just become friends?
Did we just become friends? And this is actually one of my favorite brewery names. And it's Hoof, and then Hearted, Hearted, Hoof-Hearted
That's
Brewing Company.
Awesome.
But this is a 8%er double IPA. I'm just reading here. The Amarillo and the Simcoe are forced to go to the belly of the belly with the lights off.
What was the percentage on that?
8%.
8%.
Yes. And it says to drink fresh, keep it at 46 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, I had it at 47.
Oh, darn.
Jeez.
Darn it.
I wish I would have read the can first.
We have finally peeked in the garage. We have found the two cuddly firm under one of Dad's half-used oil rags, limbed between an inverted foam and a whole cone. We did Simcoe and what's the other one? Amarillo.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, we sure did. So they blended these two hops, and this is what they came up with.
There we go. And it is delicious. I had it earlier. Not this one here, but the one at Casual Pint, which was good. It's another hazy Dippa.
I really like their packaging. These people, the Hoof-Hearted Brewing Company.
That is a funny name.
It is on my fridge upstairs on the side of it. So when you go into my kitchen, you're like, "What's this Hoof-Hearted?"
Say it again.
Say it again. Try reading that faster.
Mm-hmm. That's funny. Karate in the Garage.
Is that what it's called? Karate in the Garage?
That's what's on our Hoof-Hearted.
Karate. So this is called Karate in the Garage. I thought it was called. I thought
Did
we were just
friends. Maybe.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was called.
Well, we'll see.
But yeah, you might be right with the whole. Did we just learn karate? Is that what it is?
Karate in the Garage.
Karate in the Garage.
Yeah. Interesting.
I don't know. There's so many words on there. I don't know. Could have been Amarillo and Simcoe for all I know.
Oh, well, I've got to finish this.
Yeah, do that. And I will keep on with keeping on. So, with all this fighting going on, what did we do?
In Hong Kong.
We did Hong Kong. We did Puerto Rico.
Hong Kong Fooey.
And now on to France.
Oh, we come from France.
So, France has had protesters happening since before the 4th of July.
Oh, so, yeah, Corey was asking. Did we just become friends? It might be. Because, I mean, that was a line in Step Brothers.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's potentially.
But I don't know why they say Karate in the Garage on the backside. I think it was just stating a thing I think that's just a question.
Maybe that's their brewing style, karate in the garage.
Possibly.
We're gonna go with
well. The reading on there did say that it was like a kung fu between these two things. So karate in the garage.
See,
that would probably make sense. That
it's all full circle now. We just got it all, and now it's time for an H2O break.
Let's ask Buddha.
I'm an aquaholic.
With that said, those that do decide to entertain the fact of going to Jazz on the Green, it's fun. It's great. They have no problem with you bringing beer there. They have no problem with you bringing wine there. Please don't bring hard alcohol, but I always suggest bringing water whenever you bring wine or beer. So stay hydrated. It is warm out there, and hopefully to see you at the next Jazz on the Green on Thursday.
Faux show.
Anyway, so France has had a lot of protesters going on.
So everybody does.
Well,
I think Germany does too, I believe.
You gotta fight.
Andrew,
for your right to party. So people are fighting all over the place, and so France just had Bastille, which is their national holiday, and
Bastille Day.
That's a Bastille, yeah. So there was mass protesters, and they were all anti-government, and I really can't tell you what they're fighting over.
Anti-government,
except for they don't want the government anymore.
Yeah, well, the problem with not having a government is then you have anarchy.
Right. So, and
I'm not saying that your form of government is awesome. I'm just saying if you don't have a government,
you need one.
Mm-hmm.
You need somebody to kind of lay the rules of the land.
I am not advocating. I am not pro-government.
Right. Government does a lot of weird, strange things like. Don't even want to go there. I was just going to bring
that's a whole nother topic.
For those of you that avidly listen to our show, we tend to not
skip politics.
Yeah, we tend not to dive into politics. If you guys know Brian and I, you kind of know where the favoritism is. To bring it up on a show, I think would show favoritism, and I also don't want to discourage the people that may be on the opposite side of the fence to ward this show off. So we just kind of stay away from it.
Exactly.
It's a
polarizing topic, no matter how you look at it, even when you approach it from a
right.
Yeah. So we'll just steer clear of that.
We definitely go over the Mueller report.
Moving on.
We're not going to move on.
Moving on.
As much as we'd like to talk about it, because everyone is talking about it.
Moving on.
So let's see here.
Use France. Anti-government protests.
Well,
but you weren't sure what they were protesting. But I'm going to tell you, if it's anti-government protest, it's probably anti-government that they're protesting.
Right. And then what's the country that's everybody's coming up from to come to America?
Well, I know Venezuela.
Yeah. So Venezuela's under attack as well.
Yeah. Well, they got horrible inflation, no jobs, no food. Yeah.
Well, here's part of the problem in Venezuela is the ruler of the land is blocking the roads from the food coming in. It's like America's like, okay, cool, we'll get you guys.
Still Hugo Chavez?
I believe so.
All right.
They're like, well, we'll get you the food, we'll bring it in for you, and they're like, you can't come from there, And then we try flying it in, and once we drop it in, they go and get it, and it's like the people don't get it. So they are definitely impoverishing their people.
Drones, we need drones, just like the little
send Amazon.
Not
Is that what you're saying?
Not military drones.
You're saying send Amazon and they just drop it off at the doorstep.
The quadcopter drones.
I don't know about that.
Here's your food packets. I didn't have any water to rehydrate these.
So I was watching this thing about the France protesting and all that stuff, and they did just have a big military
coup.
No, the military since it was a state.
It got that big.
It was kind of like Trump showing off the planes flying over. It was a
military
parade. Thank you.
The things where there's floats and there's the people.
The stuff with the balloons.
Yeah.
Speaking of balloons, I just saw this new commercial.
Random tangent. Number 47.
So you know how they have the balloons that you can fill up with water, like
water balloons.
Well, you hook them up to the hose, and you can fill like 19 or 80.
For sure, they got the little
balloons.
straws that go to each one.
Yeah. Now they have this machine where you can do kind of the same thing you do to the hose, but you can blow up like 14 or 20 or 30 balloons all at the same time. Like, okay, balloons are blown up. I'm like, you guys are smart. You guys are, and they are pre-strung. So as soon as they come off of the blower thing, it's already got a string on it. I'm like, oh, so smart.
There was
somebody's thinking way ahead. Some guy at a shop at Mangelson's is going, there's an easier way to do this. Yeah. We can fill up so many more at one time.
There was a cool video I was watching, and it was at I can't remember which one, but it's maybe. But they had this single port that was probably, I don't know, 10 feet in diameter or so, maybe a little more, maybe 12 feet in diameter.
Maybe.
But it was releasing water at 5,800 gallons per second.
Hold on a second. I'm lost. What? So, where? What? Huh?
I don't remember where it was, but it was a dam somewhere. And it had
those damn dams.
Damn dams. And it had like this 10 or 12 foot in diameter hole, and it was releasing water from this hole under intense pressure at 5,800 gallons per second, and it was shooting.
So hang on a second here. 5,800. So 5,800 gallons. I'm just trying. Like I was literally upstairs and I got a glass of milk. Milk was a bad choice.
That's one. So hot.
I'm 1 gallon, and you're talking about 5,800 of those 1 gallon
every second.
Every second.
All right.
So that's a lot of water.
And it was shooting approximately 150 feet from the hole, straight out from the hole. Like,
so it couldn't come out any faster. It was like if I could come out faster, I would come out faster because
what was cool
but it's restricting because there's this hole.
Yeah, it was such intense pressure that it was literally a column of water sideways for like 150 feet before it started to drop.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Where was this?
Some dam.
Well, I remember when we took a vacation one time. And there was that one that, I mean, it didn't shoot out 100 feet.
Right.
But it shot out a solid maybe 30 feet. And we were at this dam.
Well, I've been up to Gavin's Point up in...
Maybe it was Gavin's Point.
Yankton,
I don't know.
South Dakota. Might have been
Gavin's. But, yeah, we might have stopped there on our way to Montana or something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But, yeah, it was definitely shooting off a lot of water.
Faux show.
A lot of water. Speaking of that, that's another thing.
Water coming down.
The water rose in June. It is took out a few of our dams, flooded a lot of our cities here in Nebraska. Mm-hmm. We are still seeing the effects of that. It is now kind of
both along the river and inland.
Yeah, it's starting to recede. They are opening up interstates over in Iowa and in Missouri, which is great. That now you can get on those interstates and travel to and fro. You
don't hear that often. I mean, sometimes you hear to. And a little less you hear fro, but very rarely do you hear to and fro.
I'm actually going to use that. I'm going to be like,
bring it back.
We're gonna go to Dallas, and then I'm going to fro back.
That's right. Britt's not bringing sexy back. He's bringing to and fro back.
To and fro back.
That's
But anyway, now it's starting to get real dry. Like, I was out watering the lawn the other day because I don't have a sprinkler system on my lawn, but. Mm-hmm.
Did it just sound like this? like a sucking noise?
My
like
grass was changing colors, and I go, I probably should.
Am I painting this?
Should probably put some water on that.
Yeah.
Back lawn looks great. The back lawn's always a lot hardier grass than the front lawn. But the front lawn, I've got that
also.
On the front. I've got that big hill, and it just
doesn't retain water.
It doesn't. It all just goes downhill. So
you need like a valley on the other side.
No.
A bunker. You need like a
how about a moat?
Berm.
How about I moat my house?
Should we have? I want sharks with freaking laser beams. All the red tape. What do we have? Chilean sea bass. Are they ill-tempered?
Are they ill-tempered? What was I was quoting something this morning. It was from.
That one movie with the people?
Free parking. Think you must be the Monopoly guy.
Oh, thanks for the free parking.
Ace Ventura 2. I was doing Ace Ventura 2.
Oh, gotcha. You must be the Monopoly guy. Thanks for the free parking.
Quick, hit the lights over there. Turn them off right now. All right, take
Quick,
me to jail.
Shall we go to jail? Bumblebee tuna.
That's where it all started.
Bumblebee tuna.
Bumblebee tuna was where it all started.
Mm-hmm. He's good. With my help, he could be the best.
I did that Bumblebee tuna thing, and my wife was just like, "Where are you? What are you talking about? Like, what language are you talking about?" I'm like, "The Monopoly guy. Thanks for the free parking." She's like, "Still didn't." I'm like, "I love my chitty chitty bang bang."
My favorite part though still has to be when they're in front of the tribe, and he's got his translator, and he's like, "Did you just refer to me as White Devil? That's how they know you.
That's how they know you."
Leave that part out."
You know, Jim Carrey in his prime was definitely doing.
He's still good,
some
but
hilarious. The Mask was awesome. Ace Ventura was awesome. Liar Liar was hilarious.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He's definitely
Truman Show.
changed his ways.
Oh sure.
He's gotten into painting, which is awesome, and his artwork is weird and freaky and
have you seen
kind of cool. But
have you ever seen the show on Netflix called Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee?
Yes.
So episode
with,
1,
what's his face?
Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, Seinfeld. Yeah.
So the first episode is with Jim Carrey, and it's actually quite interesting because you see the glimpse of his artistic stuff.
Well, yeah. No, I actually saw that episode.
And the part. So my favorite part of that whole episode is actually when they roll the credits, and it's like the after stuff that they didn't like put in the show. And he's like,
I didn't stick around for the credits, I guess.
Yeah, he's like hugging the waitress, and he's having a good time, and just meeting the people there. And I'm just like, oh, like he's an average guy. Yeah, he's freaking kooky and zany all the time, but
and that's what they say about Keanu Reeves.
Oh, the internet's favorite boyfriend.
Well, Keanu Reeves lives up in Canada, and he just like rides the subway, and he's like just a regular Joe. Like,
there's lots of videos of him just out on his motorcycle, and he's just like, hey. Just
and he owns his own motorcycles.
Yeah.
Like, no, let me reinstate that.
He owns other people's motorcycles.
He has his own motorcycle company.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I watched
a custom bike company.
It's a total custom bike company, and
that's cool.
It's amazing. Like
kind of like Orange County.
There's a documentary, I believe, on Netflix about Keanu Reeves and his motorcycle company. So check it out.
It's called John Wick 5.
Ride or die.
That's right. That dog. It's all about the dog.
How many people will he kill in this one?
Yep. Oh, there was somebody had made a little cartoon about that, and it was it was John Wick, and he's like super super happy, and he's got the puppy and all this stuff, and they kill the puppy, and then John Wick 1, and then like John Wick 2 starts to happen. But it like doesn't go through, and then the ghost of the dog comes up to John Wick, and he's like, "Remember what they did to me?" And like John Wick 2 happens, and it just kills everybody.
I'd have John Wick get a turtle, and then they kill the turtle, and it's just like
with the freaking pencil, with the freaking pencil.
Oh my gosh! All right, I'm out of notes. Yeah, I'm out of notes.
Hey, and we still got a few people. Hey, Chris. Thanks for joining.
Love it.
Yeah.
It was kind of a late edition episode. I know we didn't start until almost 10 o'clock, but we were kind of getting like things.
Between 9:30 and 10.
Yeah, we were getting things set up.
Still got together. Over an hour in.
But hopefully you don't have to ride your volume at ultra high on Facebook. You should be able to tame it down just a little bit. That way, if you need more volume in your car.
In your earballs.
That we can give it to you.
Exactly.
Because we have adjusted settings.
It
really boils down to having a battery in this iRig thing, I think, is where it's clutch.
All right.
Because prior to the
battery. Is there a way to plug that in instead of having a battery?
Unfortunately, no.
Oh.
But here's the ticker.
How about a nuclear reactor battery?
I'm sure the 9-volt battery would last for probably 6 months. I just need to remember to turn it off.
Oh, hey.
Because I leave it on all the time. There's a big green light. Yeah. Just turn the green light off.
You know, did you test the other battery? Did you put your tongue on the other battery to make sure it was still okay?
No, I did not.
Life pro tip, don't do that.
Why?
Oh, you can actually test if a 9-volt battery is good or not by
licking it. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
But you said don't do that.
I know.
Okay. I was wondering if you had information that I didn't know about.
No.
Like, if you do it 25 times, you will die. You're like, what?
It's like a little mini jump start
24,
to the heart.
You're fine. Yeah. 26, you're right out. But 25, you're going to die.
30, how did you live this long? All right, we're gonna end this one. This has been episode 80. Oh,
89.
yeah. Chris says hi back.
Hi.
Hi. Episode 89. How did we miss that?
How did we miss that?
I don't know. That's
Hopefully some of these stories I brought to your guys' attention throughout this hour-long podcast we had really struck a bell. Like, how come mainstream news is not talking about these current events that are happening? These whales are showing up ashore.
They're all concerned with the Mueller report.
It's weird.
We're not going to go there.
It's weird what they want to talk about and what they don't want to talk about.
Make a lot of noise over here, so over here you can steal a $1 million painting right off the wall and nobody's the wiser.
Or
that is a Thomas Crown
Jeff
affair.
Epstein, baby.
Oh yeah,
I'm horrible.
Yep. All right. Thank you all that have joined us on this random occurrence of Drink Talk, and catch us probably in another couple weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. I would assume 2 weeks.
But
I think we're going to start getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah, and this is going to be kind of a bonus episode, so
Yeah.
I'll probably release one this week and one next week. So
I tried to line up something for Lincoln for this episode, but it just didn't work out. He was like, could you do like a Friday? And I'm like, I don't think it's going to work because you were still traveling.
Yeah.
And so
maybe when I drop the keg off at Cross Train, we can talk to those guys and say, hey, want to do something fun?
Just make sure you have some business cards on you. Did you get the business cards of those guys that were sitting there at Casual Pint?
I didn't. So, yeah. I'll talk to you later about that, why I didn't.
I always have 5 cards in my pocket at all times.
I do in my vehicle, but I will tell you after this is over why I did not have that.
Perfect. All right.
Thank you all for joining us.
Yes.
Again, episode 89. How did we miss that?
What?
Yep.